It's the best home invasion of the year. Yes, while Santa Claus is kicking indoors and leaving stolen Amazon packages underneath Christmas trees, you've got to figure out what's for dinner. Today on Poor Choices, we're roasting up some spuds and duck fat, leaving you with some of the crispiest and delectable potatoes you've ever had. Perfect for these smaller Christmas gatherings. Starting out, I'm peeling about 4 to 4.5 pounds of russet potatoes. You want something starchy here, and also a note on the extra half pound. It's been my unfortunate luck lately that potatoes have been trash, and of course you don't know until you're cutting them up, so I bought one more than I needed because this potato actually did have an unusable half, so just FYI. Anyways, get those potatoes peeled and sliced up into pretty big chunks and into a bowl of cold water almost immediately. That cold water will keep the potatoes from turning brown. And we want pretty big chunks because we'll be roughing these potatoes up later to get some nice texture on the outside, and it'll contrast really nicely with a soft, tender inside. Also, keep these around the same size so they'll all cook evenly at the same time. To a pot, we'll add in some water and turn it to high heat and get our water boiling. We'll also preheat our oven to 375. While all that's coming to temp, I'm taking about a cup of duck fat that I bought at the store, and you can find this in the aisles with the oils and the Criscos and things like that. And I'm pouring it onto a clean sheet pan. I want to get this duck fat nice and hot so when the potatoes go in after boiling, they'll kind of start frying themselves. And I'm only using 1 cup of duck fat here. While delicious, you can't overdo the duck fat. Crush up some cloves of garlic, get them out of the paper and into the pan, and pop it into the oven once it's preheated and let it come up to temperature for about 5 to 10 minutes. I honestly don't pop this in until about midway through the boiling of the potatoes. Speaking of, to that pot of boiling water, I'm adding about 1 to 2 tablespoons of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Now, make sure it's baking soda and not baking powder. It's a really easy mistake to make, which I have actually done. That baking soda is going to help with getting the outside of our potatoes soft, which will create that beautiful roasted texture. I've also added in 1 teaspoon of dried thyme and 1 teaspoon of dried rosemary to the water. Once the water is boiling, drain the potatoes from their bowl and gently place them into the boiling water and let them boil for about 20 to 30 minutes or until they feel tender. Once the potatoes are done, get them into a colander, or you may know it as that spaghetti drainy thingy, and let them dry for about 5 minutes. Once you've noticed the steam has subsided, give the potatoes a rough shaking to create fluffy feather edges on it. See that? That's going to create the goodness right there. Now hopefully you've timed this right and your oil is nice and hot, and you can take your potatoes and coat them in that hot duck fat. Make sure all sides of it is coated. It's kind of tedious, but you don't want one side of the potatoes all crispy and the other uncrispy, if that's a word. I've also removed the garlic at this point, but don't throw them away. We're going to use them again later. Also make sure that each potato chunk on that sheet pan has enough space between them. Get your potatoes back into the oven, still at 375, and let them go for about 20 minutes. After the 20-minute mark, flip all the potatoes, and here's where I'm gonna call out some of you because I used to do this. You ever did those french fries in the oven and it tells you to flip them over halfway through and you don't? Yes, it matters here, and honestly there too. So don't get lazy, flip all of them. We want every edge of this to get that beautiful golden brown crispiness. And then you just let them go for about another 20 minutes. And we're not done yet. We still need a little bit more flavor. So get the potatoes out and sprinkle on some rosemary and get those garlic cloves back in. We want the flavor and aromatics now, and putting them on earlier would have just burned them. At this point, it's back into the oven for another 10 to 15 until they're nice and golden brown. If you have to go longer, you can, because not every oven is created equally. Salt and pepper them as soon as they're done, and you're good to go. Hey everybody, this is Poor Choices Kitchen. We have a Patreon link down in the description. $1 a month is all we ask for to pay for recipes in these here inflated times. And this is a really great meal for smaller Christmas dinners, but also just smaller dinners in general. Like if it's just you feeding yourself and like 4 other people, like this is a lot of work, but it's so worth it for a smaller crowd. If you were trying to make this for, 20, 30 people, I can understand how you'd want to try other methods, which there are plenty out there, and you should definitely go searching for them. And if you don't want to go searching for them, don't worry, I'll probably make those in the coming future.